All right, Mr. Taliaferro TV, how's everybody doing? If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button and you get all this content first, and also the notification button. You get all this content first, all that great stuff. I'm terrible at promotion, but please subscribe and hit the notification button if you want more Mr. Taliaferro content. Now, Nicki, she's still doing press, selective press. She's also got the Queen Radio that's been pretty popping online, but she stopped from Queen Radio to take some time out to do an interview with Ellen, legendary figure in media. And Ellen asked her about her apparent anger with Travis Scott. She said it on a radio show. She said it online. She just didn't believe Travis Scott was supposed to have the #1 album in the country. She just didn't believe he fairly got it. So to further detail what Nicki's frustration was with, she told Ellen, whenever someone says how they feel, they're not always upset or angry, all right? She said, I felt like I wanted to punch Travis Scott in the fucking face, all right? She said, I don't like being bullied and I don't like being taken advantage of. And sometimes people use scare tactics against you because they know, especially as a black woman, people will call you angry or bitter. So it's almost like we're not allowed to defend ourselves or stand up for ourselves. Now, in regards to Travis Scott, Nicki said, I've had a #2 album and I never cared. It's just that when you have a #2 album behind someone who is selling shirts and merch and selling passes for a tour that's not even announced yet, it feels like you're being tricked. It feels like someone is playing a game and beating you at a game as opposed to just selling music. I want to sell music. He sold a lot of t-shirts and sweaters. Now, to be clear, originally Nicki Minaj's anger, I believe, was more at Travis Scott's manager, Irving Izoff, because of his relationship with Ticketmaster, I believe, and other big-time ticket sale apps. She thought Irving Izoff had it in for her, but I believe now it's kind of trickled down to Travis Scott, just kind of the way he's moved over the last week or two or month or so. And I think Nicki does have a little bit of a disdain for Travis Scott, the Kardashian/Jenner family, and this Irving Izoff guy. And if she does have proof that behind the scene Irving is trying to call some shots to get her the heck out of here, she has every right to be upset. Now, in regards to her getting upset at Travis Scott for selling shirts and merch and selling passes pretty much for the tour, which is counting as album sales, I think it's a tad bit hypocritical, and I say this with respect to Nicki, because technically Nicki did have a bundle available for her tour. Like if you bought a ticket to the tour, you could get a free album as well. Here was the thing. Nicki's tour tickets were not selling like that. As a matter of fact, there were venues that sold as low as 1,000 tickets. And to be honest with you, because her ticket sales were so low, I gotta believe anybody that was going to that tour probably was a diehard Nicki fan, and they probably had already bought an album anyway. So her merch, or I'll say her ticket pass / tour pass / album pass, whatever you want to call it, her package just wasn't working for her. Travis Scott's is. His fans are festival-like fans for the most part. He's going to create a fun-like atmosphere for his show. They want to see him live. And the most hypocritical thing and ironic thing of what Nicki said is, she said Travis Scott was selling merch and passes for a tour that wasn't even announced yet, right? Well, Travis Scott since then has announced his tour. It's happening, and from what I was told from somebody who would know, his sales are great for his tour. His fans are going to pretty much sell out all of his shows. The irony is his tour is happening. Nicki's tour is not. So yes, technically, Travis might have jumped the gun on a tour that wasn't even announced yet and was offering people an album for a tour that wasn't announced, but at least it's happening. Nicki had to cancel her tour, and her tour is not happening until at least next May. And I don't believe that tour is going to happen at all, because if people are not buying the tickets for the tour now, what would make you think a year from now they would buy tickets to the same tour when you're going to lose a co-headliner in future? So again, I just think Nicki's anger about this #2 album is because she probably promised somebody over at the label that she have a #1 album. It could be some incentive-based stuff going on. And she's a competitor. There is that part of it. Nicki's a competitor. I ain't mad at her for complaining. We just gonna talk about this shit on my platform. Nicki explains to Ellen why she was so upset about having a #2 album behind Travis Scott. She claims because a lot of behind the scenes antics were going on. What y'all think? I'm out. What up, Ferros? I decided to step my game up again. I've created a music reaction Instagram page. That way you guys can be up to date on some of the latest new music in the atmosphere, and you guys can also send me some of your music as well, and you will get Mr. Taliaferro's first reaction to your record, for good or for bad, or an artist that we talk about on my platform's music, for good or for bad. Again, follow me on Instagram, Mr. Taliaferro TV. Again, that's Mr. Taliaferro TV, and you get more of yours truly.